Yo, what's up, everybody? Coach B back here again. So I'm gonna go over the 10 most likely quarterbacks that will start for the Chicago Bears next season. Uh, I was thinking about doing a list of like the top 10 options of just who's the best, but I mean I think most people are pretty clear on that. We know Deshaun Watson's number one. Um, Probably Dak Prescott would be number two. Derek Carr, that kind of stuff. But I'm going to kind of go over these options. For reference, I didn't put guys like Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson, who are like, there's talks of them being traded, but it's not going to happen, let's be honest. And if it did, it wouldn't be to the Chicago Bears. Um, and I tried to avoid most rookies. I have two at the very bottom, and I'll go over why I have those there. But so here's my list. Number one, the one we've all been hearing about. I wouldn't be the biggest fan of it. If it's for cheap, okay, but trading for Carson Wentz. So Carson Wentz obviously would be a trade candidate. It would probably take, most trade packages I've seen and kind of where I've been looking is about our first round this year, a 2022 day two pick, and Nick Foles. He'd also be about $25 million a year. Now trading Nick Foles and then them having to eat some would, make him more like, I think it's like 17 or so for next year. And then he would go back up to about that 25 range. So my option two, and it's actually the option I would prefer best, and that's Derek Carr. So I know everybody wants Deshaun Watson best. I don't want to have to trade the farm for it. So for me, Derek Carr is still a very solid quarterback. I believe in my opinion, he's above average. But I think that trade would probably be about 2 first rounders, a first round this year and next year. I also would like to throw Nick Foles into that trade, again, to clear space and stuff like that. And also, Derek Carr only has 2 years left on his deal. You trade Nick Foles, you draft a quarterback in the middle rounds, and then he sits for 2 years. So if Derek Carr works out, okay, you extend him and you already have a backup. If he doesn't, you have that quarterback that you've been kind of grooming. And if he needs to start, he can. If not, again, you can go somewhere else and kind of go for a competition. But yeah, so Derek Carr's number two. Number three, unfortunately, is Nick Foles. Again, this is most likely not what I'd prefer. But in this scenario, I think it's a scenario where we don't land really any big free agents. So we have to bring in a smaller guy, maybe like a Jacoby Brissett or somebody like that, or a rookie. And in this case, I think he's day one starter just because more familiar with the system. Hopefully we'll have a better line. And again, that's going to be a big excuse for Nick Foles is, oh, well, the line didn't give him any time. And our receivers were pretty bad in the middle of the season too. Everything kind of went really bad for him. He didn't play great, don't get me wrong, but a lot of other stuff was going wrong as well. So I could see them giving him kind of another chance at the beginning of the season. Now with him, obviously he's already on team. He had a really bad 2020, a bad line, but he is cheap. A lot of people like to make it seem like he's, so expensive. He's less than $7 million a year right now because of the trade and his kind of rework with Jacksonville. Jimmy G's the next one. Now, obviously right now he's a trade candidate. I believe it's more likely if they cut him. So, and it's looking like they might. If they cut him, they save like $20+ million right now. So obviously 49ers would love to trade him, but if nobody's going to trade for him, especially with a higher contract like he has, for me, I wouldn't really want to pay Jimmy G $25 million or whatever he's at. He's about there. So if they cut him, then I would. He's also from the Chicago area. But as far as the trade, if we did, I'd give him a 3rd round pick. I wouldn't give him much more because we're taking on that contract. But if not, and we did sign him, I would try to sign him maybe a $15 million a year, like a 1 year, $15 million deal, something like that. Next one is Dak Prescott, which is kind of a surprise, probably for most people. If you would have asked me a few months ago, I would probably think no, but it seemed like he wants that extension. He doesn't want a franchise tag. His franchise tag now is also $37 million in that ballpark. So Dallas doesn't have a lot of cap. I think it would be better for them to sign someone cheaper or go ahead and just try to get a new quarterback in the draft. They also have a somewhat lower pick, so they could trade up a little bit and get somebody. I think that they might let him walk here. If they do tag him, I don't see anyone really tagging and trading for him. If they did tag and they did try to tag and trade, That'd probably be another one where it's about 2 first-round picks. The tag would kind of lower the value a little bit, but I still think it'd be about 2 first-round picks. Now, if he is a free agent, obviously he wants about $40 million a year. I do think maybe for the first year you'd get him slightly discounted. Like you can get him to take, in the first year maybe like a $25 to $30 million cap hit, and then it would go up to that 40 in the rest of the multi-year deal. 6 would be Deshaun Watson. This one everyone wants, but for reference, this is kind of my trade and how I saw this going. 3 first-round picks, Kyle Fuller and Eddie Jackson. They want 2 defensive starters, by the way. So their original thing, what they wanted was 3 firsts and 3 seconds. No way they're ever going to get that. So though they don't want to trade them, from everything I've seen, is they want 3 firsts and 2 starting defensive players. So Kyle Fuller and Eddie Jackson. That also clears up like $30 million in cap space. So that would be really nice. And he's only $10 million for next year. So that will give us the extra money to re-sign Allen Robinson. Maybe another free agent. But yeah, so I don't really see it happening, but it could. Next would be Sam Darnold, and I only had him below just mainly because I don't want this. But I actually think he might be slightly more likely, but I really don't want this. But Sam Darnold obviously would be a trade. Probably be about 2nd round pick. Maybe you get away with the third and one of our extra comp picks. We're supposed to have like 3 6-round picks, I think, this year. So, trade a third in that and get Sam Darnold. As far as he is still young, I don't think we've seen his full potential. He's been in a really bad situation. Adam Gase is a terrible coach. He didn't have a very good line, does not have very good weapons. So possibly in a better system, we could kind of see what he could become, but will it be that much better? Will it be that much different? Like, obviously, Trubisky was better this year. I think his range is around that Trubisky range, maybe slightly better, but still. So I think trading for him, you wouldn't get much of a difference than what you had with Trubisky. So I don't really see us doing something like that. This one, less likely, more intriguing, but I've seen some people kind of talk about this. And Tua Tagovailoa. And this would only be if they get Deshaun Watson. So obviously they might want Tua back in return, but to get an extra pick so that they're not giving up as much, I could see them trading Tua for a first, and then using that first to help get the Deshaun Watson trade. So I could see that happening if they get Deshaun Watson. So again, in that case, it would cost us a first round. We'd get Tua, and then he's also still cheap, like only in the 2nd year of his rookie deal. So that would be nice. All right, that's all the guys already in the NFL. Now I have my two rookies. Now I don't think we're trading into the top 10. Some people have talked about, what would it cost to trade to like number 4 or number 3 or something to try to get one of the top guys like, Zach Wilson, who I would absolutely love, but it's not going to happen. The cost would be almost as much as Deshaun Watson. So I took out, Trevor Lawrence, no way in hell. Zach Wilson, I would love, but it's not going to happen. Justin Fields, maybe if he falls, but I still don't really see that happening. So that leaves within the top 5 that everyone talks about, Mac Jones, who is number 8 or number 9 for me here. For him, it would be the 20th overall pick, maybe a slight trade up. Honestly, if he's there around the 15 range, because one, the Patriots are going to want him. So I think it was in Mel Kiper's last draft. Mock draft, he had us trading up to number 12 for him. That's a little high. I think more like 14 at earliest, and that would just be to beat the Patriots if they don't already trade up. But, so yeah, around that range. So for him, it would take probably a little bit of a trade up, but he's a smart quarterback. I think he's pretty pro ready, but he doesn't have a super high ceiling. I kind of see him as like a prime Andy Dalton type quarterback where he's going to be, average, maybe slightly above average through most of his career, but he's never really going to get that top 10 range, is how I see him. My next one, so obviously the last of the 5 would be Trey Lance. I don't really see us targeting him, to be honest. Mainly, he doesn't fit Nagy's system. Yeah, like he's good with the RPOs, but honestly, we've seen him kind of go away from those. I think he was just trying those with Trubisky because he thought he could run it. He likes that drop back type quarterback, pocket passer. That's why he traded for Nick Foles. It just didn't work out. But to me, Trey Lance isn't ready. He hasn't really played in a year. He has crazy upside, But unless he actually falls to 20, which I don't think he will, I don't see us trading up for Trey Lance. So another quarterback who I had here at number 10 is this is kind of my dark horse option. A lot of people may think it would be Kyle Trask. I don't think that one. I actually have Kellen Mond. So Kellen Mond's ran a little bit of the pro and a lot of the college still. Kind of they did a hybrid there at Texas A&M. He's going to be about more of a third round pick, so it would take a slight trade up. I think he has a pretty high ceiling, but he does need time. This is one of the scenarios where, like I said earlier, Nick Foles would definitely start at least the first few games of the season, and then maybe if things aren't really going well, you throw in Kellen Mond, see how this goes. But he's my dark horse option. I could see him going with a Kyle Trask here as well, but I kind of like the upside of Kellen Mond here in the third round. I don't think Kyle Trask gets out of the second. So for us, I think that would be a good option for the third round. And in this case, this is you build up the entire team as best as you can outside of quarterback, and then you hope that, a guy like a Kyle Trask or Kellen Mond or, something like that can really kind of work out for you. At least do enough to, get you there, and then you can figure it out next year. Honestly, Ryan Pace has kind of screwed us over between his contracts, us not having a lot of cap space, and trading away so many draft capital. It's going to be really hard to get a top-tier guy. So in that case scenario, I think we need to kind of pull like a 49ers and have an elite defense, which we did a couple years ago. The past 2 years, I wouldn't say elite, still good, but not elite. But get the defense back to elite. And we've seen what David Montgomery can do, improve the line, and he can get better, especially getting Tariq Cohen back to kind of, take a couple carries off him to help out and have an elite run game. If we have elite defense, elite run game, I think with an average quarterback, we can, still be a pretty good threat. That's Chicago style ball, and a lot of people don't like that. It's not sexy, but that's kind of where I see us going if we don't land one of the top guys. So let me know what you think from these. I'm going to post these. I'm going to post a couple mock drafts. I've done like probably 20 of them over the past, month or so. And I haven't been posting because I'm trying to decide which few I like the best. So I'll probably post my top 3 from there, and let me know what you think. All right, well, thanks for watching.